What's going on? This is your man John Fortune, your host of the Frustrated Fan Sports Show. And today is my final grouping, the linebackers. I'm not going to have a long video on the linebackers because I only wanted to touch on a few of them. But I'm going to, I got them in order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I got 7 guys that I'm going to talk about. These are the guys that I like the most in this coming up class, in this class of linebackers. Like I said, I feel that this draft is probably a draft that should be more defensive focused because a lot of the best class in this draft year is the secondary class. The secondary class, the best class. Behind that class, to me, is the linebackers. The linebackers are the next best class. So when any team thinks about it, the linebackers, the secondary, and the linebackers is going to probably be the best classes that they got. I think the edge class is better than what people think. But there's a lot. They have a lot. It tails off later with some of the guys. But again, these are some of the best defensive classes coming out. Like I said, the secondary class, the entire secondary class, corners and safeties. And then, of course, you got the linebackers. Then you got the edge guys. I think the running back class is a lot better. The receiver class is up and down. So, but let me get into this video. I'm just going to focus on getting into this video. So, I'm going to start off at the top. For me, the number one linebacker in this draft class, and the guy that I like the most, is Anthony Hill Jr. This, to me, he's the best green dot backer in this entire class. What I didn't like last year, or the past season, was that for some reason Steve Sarkisian's defensive staff felt the need to split the play calling responsibilities between Anthony Hill Jr. and Toffee, the safety, which I thought was very stupid because what we saw was at times we saw a disconnected defense that you could tell that the biggest problem was that 2 guys were calling plays. And because of that, we saw Anthony Hill's production kind of linger a little bit because we saw that there were times when Anthony Hill Jr. would call a play and then Toffee would scream something and then he would have to scream something else, or he would have to move players around, and you can see that dual communication really destroyed the defense of Texas this season. And you saw it in multiple games where it happened like that. But prior to them doing that, you're talking about from the time he was a freshman, when he stepped in as a freshman, he actually was calling all the plays. And then the year before that, Texas had this incredible defense due to the fact that all the play calling responsibility was on Anthony Hill Jr. And he did a fantastic job with that. I think, without a shadow of a doubt, this is the best green dot backer in this draft. There's no one better than him with the green dot. But to me, he's the best one. I feel that it's a guy that should really be zoned into. I would like the Commanders to really think about this guy, especially with going to a new defensive scheme. I think that he's one that can pick it up, learn it, and go about it. Very, very good sideline to sideline. Very strong tackler. Can diagnose plays, get to the play, attack the ball, and blow up a play. Gets his teammates, does a fantastic job getting his teammates in position to make plays. Like I said, nothing better than what we saw the year before, where we saw Put Alfred Collins and Vernon Brottington and Colin Stewart and all them in perfect position to make plays. And like I said, he's fantastic. So Anthony Hill Jr. is my number one backer. Next is Arvell Reese. To me, he is the best off the ball backer who can be a insane menace on defense. His athleticism, his skill, his speed, it all kind of is reminiscent of LeVar Arrington for me. He's a guy that everything he does is speed, power, and the ability to get a player to the ground. He does that immensely, and every time you see him, you could tell that he's just a nightmare to deal with because he has this relentless motor as he's playing the game. Here's more of why I give him the LeVar Arrington comparison. He's not great in coverage, so there will be this big, massive issue of teams possibly wanting to make him a weak side backer or a strong side backer, not understanding that you're going to be losing the best quality of him. Which again, like I said, it goes back to the LeVar Arrington thing. LeVar Arrington was fantastic coming downhill, getting to the football, coming off the edge and getting plays like that. But when it came time to cover a tight end, cover a running back out the backfield, diagnosing a screen play, he struggled. And Arvell Reese is one of those guys that struggles in that area. So for him, don't put him in coverage. Do not put him in coverage at all. Let him be a pass rusher. Let him get to the the quarterback and go from there, because I think that will be his best quality. I think that's where his highest ceiling is in comparison to putting him in coverage and end up lowering his floor to the point at where he could be in trouble long term. The next guy on here, again, another green dot guy that I actually like. I wasn't certain how much he was calling the plays. You could tell that he was calling the plays, but there were times where it seemed like his running mate might have been calling the plays more than him. That guy is Jacob Rodriguez out of Texas Tech. Very solid guy. He's very good at playing sideline to sideline and can diagnose a play very well. Like, he can see what's going to happen before it happens, and he shoots through and makes a play. I was very impressed with how well he played at points and times. But again, it's the thing of, like, you could tell that there were times that he called the play, but then there were times that it looked like his running mate was calling the play too, who's also in this draft as well. So, but he's a good, solid green dot guy. He can actually make some plays. Like I said, again, I'm not certain how they divvy up the play calling there in Texas Tech, but he did a fantastic job. And like I said, again, a guy who's sideline to sideline with that speed is really impressive. And he's a guy that long term, you know that this will probably be your middle linebacker for your foreseeable future. As long as they make him the play caller, and it doesn't seem like, so it doesn't make it look like play calling responsibilities is too much for him, or you have to give him, or you're piecemealing his play calling. So I like Jacob Rodriguez. I think he's fantastic. That's my number 3 guy. My number 4 guy is C.J. Allen, the linebacker out of Georgia. He's one of those very rounded linebackers. Incredible tackler and very good at diagnosing a play and attacking. Sideline to sideline speed, sheds blocks well, green dot ability. This guy, he's one that, again, he's another one that has this ability to call plays, but it looks like he only calls them when injury occurs. But there's a lot of times that you can't even tell that he's not the green dot guy. There's been games where he wasn't the green dot guy, and you could not tell he was not the green dot guy, because he sat up there and diagnosed plays and would push some of the players into certain positions and stuff like that, where you saw his ability to be possibly I'm scared to say this, he could be in that realm of a Mike Singletary type of guy, where he's able to diagnose a play, get in on a play, make a play call, make the play, get the tackle, and shed the block and get in on what's supposed to actually happen. He has that level of ability in him to be that solid and that great. You know what? You know who's a better example of him is possibly maybe a Brian Urlacher. Like, he does have that Brian Urlacher type of thing where he can get sideline to sideline, he can get down the field, he can make a play, he can make a tackle, he can break up plays and all that type of stuff. He also has this extreme kryptonite, which puts him in the current Bobby Wagner situation, where he's like Bobby Wagner currently. He's not great in coverage. He is not great in coverage. Like, there was so many times where a tight end would come across his face and all he had to do was keep up with him, and he could not keep up with the tight ends. He has that problem. He's not, coverage is his kryptonite, which means that if you're going to have him on the field and he's probably your best green dot guy, you're going to have to play somebody opposite of him who has a sideline to sideline ability to stay in coverage. Not necessarily just stay sideline to sideline, but to be able to stay in coverage and be very good in coverage, because there were a lot of times that you saw him struggle when it came to coverage. But other than that, everything else is great about this guy. I mean, you see him make play after play after play, and when he makes the plays, he's devastating. Like I said, he diagnoses a play so fast and he blows up so many tackles in the backfield. It's crazy. Not only that, he's also a high volume tackler. So he's actually had several seasons where he ends up in the high 70s, 80s, and 90s when it comes to tackling. So I like him a lot. But that's my number 4 guy. My number 5 guy is, I know a lot of Commanders fans may not like me about this, but my number 5 guy is Sonny Styles. He's a great tackler, fantastic sideline to sideline, incredible in coverage, still needs work calling plays and diagnosing plays. He's great at tackling. Like, you never really see any players like walk out of one of his tackles or him not stop a play or something like that. He does really well with that. He does, to me, in all the stuff that I saw, he was really good at tackling. Very, very good at tackling. Quick, very quick sideline to sideline. You could tell that when a play, there were times where he would come from one side of the field all the way to the other side of the field and make a play. Like, you can see linebackers do that pretty often, but not with the level of speed that he does. He actually gets on his horse and he gets to chucking. He doesn't stop. He will do everything in his power to get all the way to the other side of the field as quickly as possible, and he does a great job with that. Coverage, oh man, like, there were so many times that you would see him in coverage that if a tight end came across, like, he could defend the tight end on his own. Again, you're talking about a guy who's a converted safety. His brother plays safety as well, but he's also a converted safety. So he understands coverage and how to press a tight end, how to press a slot corner coming out of the slot. He does a great job with diagnosing coverages, and he is very good at coverage, defending coverage. still needs work in calling plays and diagnosing plays. Now, the year before my elites, I did my elites list. This year I won't do an elites list because every group didn't have an elite level talent. But Cody Simon was the middle linebacker the year before. And this guy was like an incredible middle linebacker. And Sonny Styles benefited greatly because I think Sonny Styles used to wear the number 6 when Cody Simon was there, and Cody Simon was number 0. And I think Sonny wore 0 this year. But you could tell he still needs work on calling plays and diagnosing plays. There were a lot of times that he could have been in on the play, and just because he didn't shoot the gap was the only reason why he wasn't in on the play. And it was apparent that all he had to do was shoot the gap, because he was just standing there. And it's like it's almost like he's waiting for the play to develop, or waiting for the running back to get the ball, waiting to see what's going on, and he doesn't see it before it happens. So he really needs work on that. And like I said, I don't think he's a green dot guy right now. I think it's going to be at least 2 or 3 years in a system before he becomes that. So 2 or 3 years, Commanders fans, we don't have that type of time. We don't have that type of time or that type of thing to work on with a guy like that. So for that, I like Sonny Styles, but he is my 5th linebacker on my list. The next guy I got on here is Josiah Trotter, son of Jeremiah Trotter, brother of Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Great run defender and solid tackler. Smart blitzer, high volume tackler, incredible field awareness. Everything I just said about him is what he is. He's such a almost identical carbon copy of his dad that is crazy. Like everything that I just said, his dad was exactly the same thing. Great run defense, solid tackler. Now I understand that a lot of Washington fans are gonna be like, he wasn't all that when he came to Washington. Yeah, but that was because that was a completely different scheme that he was in, and we tried to make him something that he wasn't. Especially when it came to in coverage, which is where Josiah struggles massively in. But when it comes down to it, Josiah, like I said, when it comes to run defense, he's in there. When it comes to diagnosing the play, he's in there. When it comes to being smart about blitzing, like if he sees that there's a chance and the opportunity for him to blitz and have the quarterback flustered, or see that the running back isn't there, he will analyze it and will get through the hole immediately and be a blitzer, even though they may not have called him to be a blitzer. But he's very smart at that. Incredible field awareness. There were several times where he would make a play that, like, it's almost like he understood where the first yard marker was, or where the touchdown line was, that he would come in on a play that somebody else would make, and then he would angle himself to make a play to keep the guy out of the end zone or away from making the first down. It was some of the best field awareness I've seen from a linebacker since probably Nick Bolton. And that was something that I thought was really impressive. But like I said, just like his daddy, he's not great in coverage. And on top of that, he's kind of slow to the point of attack. Like it's not that he's slow, it's like there's a delay there, and I think it's the field awareness thing, where he knows where people are, and he knows where to stop them, that it just takes him time to get there. He's not sideline to sideline. He's not a fast backer. And what I mean by that, he's fast probably straight line, but he's not fast sideline to sideline like laterally. He's not fast like that. But and he seems very slow when it comes down to it. But like I said, if you're talking about a guy who looks like his daddy, Josiah Trotter is a guy that, without a shadow of a doubt, looks just like his daddy, and it's like the craziest thing ever. Last but not least is Torrin Yoke, the Texas A&M linebacker. Diagnosed plays and pass and run quickly, sheds blockers well, very fast sideline to sideline, potential to be a great middle backer. Like there were a lot of times that you could tell that he has green dot ability, and that he can possibly be one of those guys that most people don't even realize how intelligent he is. That if he does play middle linebacker, he would be an insane threat when it comes down to it. So, like I said, he diagnoses plays very fast. There were several times where before the ball was even handed off to the running back, he was in the backfield, and I was like, yo, what is going on? There were times where I saw him blow up a screenplay that you didn't even know that he noticed it was a screenplay. I mean, he's very good at that. Not only that, you saw him shed blocks very well. Again, screenplay, runs down, the offensive lineman gets a hand on him, he sheds the block immediately, blows up the play. There was another running play where the guy, they were coming on like a sweep across the back. He comes back, runs back across, the offensive lineman is right there on him, and somehow he got underneath the offensive lineman and still made the play. It was some of the best stuff that I've seen. I mean, like, he's very, very good. Very quick sideline to sideline. I mean, like I said, when I say you see a guy blow up a play quickly, he blows up a play very quickly. And, I mean, like I said, I think he does have green dot capability. Here's some of the stuff that is not great. Misses tackles. There were times where he did miss some key tackles. Not because he's not able to. He took bad angles. He took very bad angles, and because he's going like jet fast, he takes a bad angle and he whiffs on the tackle, or he misses a tackle that he could have made if he just slowed down just slightly. And that's where he got his missed tackles. Does not pass rush well. In all honesty, with a guy like him, it's probably best to focus on him being a middle backer than focusing him on being something opposite of a middle backer. So if you focus him on being a middle backer, then you won't have to be concerned too much with him rushing the passer. Because the reason they were doing this because of his speed and his quickness. That's why they were trying to get him to pass rush, but he's not great at that. So I would suggest leaving that aspect alone. Bad in man coverage, that is true. Because he's so fast, and because sometimes he can take bad angles, when it comes to coverage, he doesn't turn his hips well enough to make a play and actually get in coverage the way he needs to, because he's so used to diagnosing and coming downhill. So when it comes time for him to turn and run, that you could tell that gives him a problem. That may be something where you may have to have him step back a little bit from the defensive line, play a little off of the defensive line just to give him the opportunity to be better in coverage. But currently right now, he's not great in coverage. And with that, those are my linebackers in the upcoming draft. Y'all tell me what y'all think. How do y'all like my rankings? Do y'all not like my rankings? Are there guys on here that you weren't thinking about that you're now going to go back and look at? Y'all tell me in the comments below. Other than that, this has been your man John Fortune, and this has been the Frustrated Fan Sports Show.